This is the Yamaha P525. It's the flagship piano in Yamaha's portable series, and at $1,700, it's definitely not a cheap piano. With that said, is it worth the price? Today, we're going to take a look at this piano. So, I want to start off by going over some basic specs. Starting off, this piano is 52 inches wide. It weighs 48 pounds or 22 kilograms, which honestly, you got to take that for what it is because it's really subjective to what you're going to do. If you're going to move the piano a lot, it's a bit heavy. But if you're going to keep it in one place, or rarely move it, it's honestly not too bad. Now let's move on to talk about speakers. You have two-way system, 20 watt plus 6 watt amplifiers. Polyphony, this piano has 256 polyphony, which is more than adequate and really reasonable for a digital piano of this price. Now let's move on and talk about key action. Key action is something that's really important when it comes to a digital piano. Because key action is something you really can't upgrade, and you can get VSTs, change the sounds, but you cannot change the key action when it comes to a digital piano. Also, key action is something that's really subjective depending on what type of music you're trying to play. With that said, this digital piano has some really nice key action. It features the Yamaha Grand Touch S key action, which has wood and white keys. Unfortunately, the black keys are not made of wood, but it's still really solid. This key action is quite authentic for a digital piano, one of the best out there if you want one that feels like an acoustic piano. With that said, key action isn't everything, right? You also got to have good sound that goes with key action. You know, in order to have the authentic piano experience with a digital piano, you need both key action and good sound that go well together. So with that said, you get two main piano sounds, the Yamaha CFX and the Bösendorfer Imperial. These are two world-class grand pianos which have been sampled into this digital piano. The CFX is brighter and punchier, and if you're using headphones, the binaural sampling allows for you to make it sound like the piano's in front of you, right? So let's play a bit of the CFX Grand so you can get a feel of how the CFX Grand sounds. Yeah, that was the CFX Grand. Hope you enjoyed. With that said, let's move on and talk about the Bösendorfer. The Bösendorfer is much more warmer, darker tone, and I'll just let you hear a bit of the Bösendorfer so you can hear how it sounds. So yeah, that was the Bösendorfer Imperial. With that said, it's really up to personal preference which one you enjoy. I personally prefer the Bösendorfer Imperial for most things, but it also does depend on what music I'm playing. With that said, I want to mention there's also plenty of other piano sounds in here, and there's also plenty of other instrument sounds. E-piano, organ, you got harpsichord, you got strings, bass, you name it. Got plenty of sounds in this piano. Okay? With that said, not all of them are created equal, and some of them are better than others. With that said, I'm going to do a quick showcase, showcasing some of those other sounds so you can get an idea of some of them. Okay? So yeah, with that said, that was just some of the sounds that are in this digital piano. And those are some of the ones that I find to be better. With that said, the main instrument sounds that are easy to access are honestly pretty good. And then the ones, under the hood, what I mean by that is that you have to go to dig deep for, those are the ones which are, sometimes a little lackluster. With that said, I also got to mention one more thing, which is a minor complaint, which is that this piano unfortunately does not have a proper upright piano sample. It has a honky tonk upright, but no standard upright piano sample, which I find to be really, really kind of a minor complaint. And that's because Yamaha makes some really solid upright pianos. So if they just sampled one of them, like the U1 or the U3, it would be really nice. Unfortunately, there isn't any here. With that said, now I want to move on and talk about a few more things with the sounds. So there are actually three features or two features you can do with sound. First off, being dual, where you have two sounds combined together. So when you play, you have the two sounds playing together. This is what it sounds like. So yeah, I had a Bosendorfer paired with some strings. Now let's talk about the next feature, which is a feature where you can split the piano. Split this so half is one instrument, the other half is another instrument. Right now we'll do this with the Bosendorfer and the acoustic bass. With that said, those two things are a cool thing you can do with this piano, which can really enhance the playing experience. With that said, you can also do one more thing, which I actually didn't talk about, which is to combine them both. You have your right side, right? Your right side will be having two instruments, and your left side will be split. Let's show you what this sounds like. On the right side, we'll have Bosendorfer and strings, and on the left side, we'll have acoustic bass. Yeah, that was split and dual combined together, both features combined together. With that said, that brings me to mention that I forgot to mention one thing, which is that with the split feature, you can actually change where the split is, and that's really cool. So you can, have the split be really off balanced if somehow it fits better for what you're trying to do. So with that said, now I got to talk about a few other things. Starting off with the pedal. So with that said, now I want to talk about pedal and stand because pedal and stand are pretty important. Out of the box, this comes with the FC38 sustain pedal, okay, which is pretty nice. It supports half damper and it feels much more substantial than those cheap pedals, which it's kind of expected. You're paying $1,700 for piano. Better come with a solid pedal, which it definitely does. Now let's talk about stands. So if you want a permanent look, you can get the L515 stand and the LP1 triple pedal. But keep in mind the triple pedal only works with that specific stand. Yamaha does also make an FC35 triple pedal unit, which sits on the floor. With that said, honestly though, you don't really need to view that Most people can get away with the default pedal, and also you can just get a Z-style stand, which will do the job. Z-style stands I really recommend because they give you room for your legs, unlike the standard commonly brace X-style stand, right? It's really easy for your legs to bump into it. With that said, I also want to mention one more thing, which I forgot to talk about. This piano comes with a music rest. Nothing to write home about. It's just pretty standard. It's pretty secure for music. Okay. Yes, it'll wobble a little bit, but if you're just gonna put an iPad or any books on there, it'll honestly be fine. So now that I've talked about the pedal, stands, and the music rest, I want to talk about a few things I forgot to talk about earlier. Starting off with two features that I want to talk about: metronome and rhythm. So this digital piano has a built-in metronome, and along with the metronome, there's also a rhythm feature which you can play to some preset drums. You can change the tempo of the drums and play along to them. Next up, I want to talk about recording. You can actually internally record with this piano. So you can record audio or MIDI. This digital piano can also connect to the Yamaha Smart Piano app, which can help you navigate around and change some of the settings with the piano, which you can also do with the piano itself. With the piano itself, changing settings, navigating between different sounds is relatively easy, although it can be a little tedious, as it can take some time to get to where you want to be. Now let's go over the verdict. Is this piano worth $1,700? And yes, I honestly think so. You're getting a professional quality piano, right? It has really nice key action, and especially when compared to its competitors, it's significantly cheaper. If we take a look at Kawai, it's almost at $2,000 for the ES920. Roland FB90X is at like $2,200. This is significantly cheaper. So honestly, it's a really good. So I really highly recommend this piano, especially if you're looking for a digital piano that you want that is high quality and will last. Yamaha definitely has that reputation.